Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. I was absent yesterday. We were catching up with Tess and her dad. It's that time of year, of course, catching up with lots of people, checking in on everyone, making sure everyone's okay. I have also a little pair of beady eyes staring at me as I start this reading. The little Jack Russell, the ancient Jack Russell, is with us for a week while his mum's away, so you might hear snoring, coughing, any number of strange sounds in the background. That would be him. I have the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot on the tarot table today. We are looking at things that look bad for some of the royals, and the first thing that looks very bad and really is a nightmare before Christmas is the Prince Andrew spy scandal. Not saying that he's a spy, but of course he seems to have found himself in the grip of Chinese spies, and it's now caused all kinds of scandal. This is a Chinese spy who's been banned from entering the UK, very high status individual apparently, and MI5 investigated, found this person in possession of briefing documents saying that Prince Andrew is in a desperate position and will grab onto anything. Apparently, they've gained all kinds of access through Prince Andrew to things they shouldn't have, the Chinese, and this is now exploded. Apparently, the king is furious at this latest scandal involving his brother. And it has, of course, made the entire royal family look bad. And what's particularly bad about this right now is that the palace anyway, can't rule out that the Chinese might have been the ones that saved Prince Andrew from being evicted from Royal Lodge, or the Royal Dislodge. And there was speculation a few months ago that it was in fact King Charles who was secretly funding Prince Andrew to keep him at Royal Lodge, but now it looks more likely that it's the Chinese. So that's the backstory, that's the issue, the problem. And of course, Andrew and Fergie did the Christmas walk last year. Fergie giddy with delight. I don't know about that this year, and of course they've got worse to come next year. Apparently there is a book being written about the Yorks that is really, apparently, gossip says, rumor says, going to be quite horrific, the things that are going to emerge. I don't know about that, but anyway, things are looking bad already. What is going to happen? What's the king going to do? What will William end up doing if it lands on Prince William, if the king can't find it in himself to actually once and for all shut Prince Andrew down? It's the last thing the royal family needs right now after a very difficult year. They were muddling through it as best they could and looking like they turned some kind of a corner, and then along comes Prince Andrew with yet another scandal. It is pretty bad. So, Nightmare Before Christmas tarot, we're going to look at what the Chinese are after with the royal family and what damage they might have done. Prince Andrew, the weakest link, and what he might have let slip. And we're going to look at Royal Lodge, whether the king pays for Royal Lodge secretly or foreign power pays for Royal Lodge. We're going to look at consequences for Andrew. Is he going to be kicked out of Royal Lodge? Is he going to be blocked from Sandringham this year? And what will Prince William do if the king himself can't actually pluck up the courage to do it himself? So that's where we're heading today. Remind you, it's tarot and it's all for fun and entertainment. It's all my opinion, all speculation. We just look at energy here, and of course there is a disclaimer in the box below. I can't imagine that Prince William wants to blow a fuse at this point. Of course, the What About Andrew lot are very loud at the moment, the Sussex supporters. Some of the very adjacent accounts on Twitter are very loud at the moment about how the Sussexes are portrayed as the villains, and yet Andrew can get away with all of this and still be ensconced in Royal Lodge. And for once, I tend to agree with them. There's Prince William, the Chariot, that's him. Prince William Prince William, I don't think, is going to tolerate this for 1 second. That's a very forceful card, the Chariot. It's willpower, it's directed energy, achieving your goals, very intent on achieving some kind of goal. And that will not be a goal, I don't think it's delivering gifts to Prince Andrew down the chimney. That's Santa's sleigh. I think some other thing, a little bit of a bomb, might be dropped down the chimney at Royal Lodge with the energy of that Chariot that I'm feeling as an energy reader. So let's have a look. The situation we are dealing with today. We are dealing with the Hermit in reverse. And for once, it's not Harry, the Hermit. The Hermit is somebody who's withdrawn from society to go and contemplate and find their inner wisdom and purpose and all of that stuff. That should be Prince Andrew. That should be somebody who's withdrawn from public life. The Queen stripped him of all his patronages and all his military whatevers and told him he had to go and sit quietly at home. But it's in reverse. So that means that it's someone that's ill-advised, listening to wrong counsel, shall we say, Chinese whispers, and coming unstuck. Also, still being in the public eye when you don't really want to see them. That is, for me, what the Hermit in reverse is about. He keeps trying to sidle back into some form of public role, and then keeps being kicked back, go away, and then there he is again, popped up again, and go away. So it's that kind of push-pull energy that's going on in that Hermit card as well for me. So let's look first at the royal family and see what's so attractive to them for foreign powers. I was stating the obvious a bit, but I'm curious to know what the tarot has to tell us. There are, of course, rumours to do with Harry and Meghan that they might also be in the sights of foreign powers, not the Chinese in their case so much. We're not reading on them, we're reading on Prince Andrew today. So what's so tempting about the royal family? Why do they want to gain access to the royals? And we have the Knight of Needles, which is the Knight of Swords. It's strategic. It's access to information. The Knight of Needles, Swords, is very much about strategy and intelligence. Quite literally, it's about intelligence. Quick thinking, but I think it's military. I think that the aspect that they're very interested in is their access to intelligence and military information. The Knight of Needles in particular is about military planning, strategy, that kind of stuff. Communications, things like that. So access to that level of information seems to be what's coming through for me. So it's not about money and privilege and that kind of stuff. It's very much about strategic information, and very scary when you think about it. If you're a citizen of Britain, United Kingdom, perhaps, and you find that this is going on, not a comforting thought. And so what damage has been done to the royal family in particular, not looking at the nation itself, the country itself, what damage. And we've got the 10 of Presents, which is the 10 of Pentacles, and it's in reverse. This is very damaging. The 10 of Presents is one of the royal family cards because it's the legacy card. It's about generations passing on that privilege, that status, that wealth from generation to generation. It's in reverse. This could actually undo the royal family. It's that bad. It could stop that centuries old continuation. It could stop it in its tracks. But he knows. Prince William knows. It's very, very damaging. All their credibility, all their accomplishments, all that they represent in terms of security and stability and trust, gone. Thanks, Prince Andrew. And I know there are supporters of Prince Andrew around who remember him for what he did in the Falklands and whatever. And he was once, the catch in the royal family and very popular. I'm aware of that. But my goodness, he has managed to disgrace himself since. And that is my personal opinion. And according to the cards, he has managed to endanger what looks like intelligence, information, and the actual existence of the royal family. So let's look at Prince Andrew himself and what the Chinese thought of him as a potential weak link, shall we say. What did they think of him? Wow, the Tower. They saw all his vulnerability, his panic, the collapse of everything in his world. What did they say? He's in a desperate position and will grab onto anything. That's the Tower. His world came crashing down, of course, because of the Jeffrey connection, and that's gone on and on and on for years. And every time he thought he'd got on top of it, boom, up it popped in another guise. And now this, of course. But there is somebody who is in as weak a position as you can be, according to the energy of the tarot. The Tower built on very unstable foundations, the slightest hint of trouble, and that whole tower comes crashing down. Prince Andrew's life literally crashed down. And they saw that. So what did they gain from him? I'm double checking in this reading. I've already asked what benefit to any foreign power trying to weasel their way into the British royal family. What did they gain from Prince Andrew? According to the cards, allegedly, all of that stuff. We've got the Five of Candles, and it's in reverse. It's about competition, the Five of Candles. Five of Wands is the competition card. That's also a competition card, the Chariot, just by the way. So who's your rival? How can you undermine people you're competing against, your competitors, gaining an unfair advantage over competitors? I would say that is how I'm going to read the Five of Candles in reverse in this particular reading. Again, my opinion, and purely my opinion. So it's about that competitive edge. Dirty dealings for me, the Five of Candles in reverse, not playing fair. Upright would be more on an even playing field, everybody having a chance to compete. In reverse, unfair advantage, unfair competition. That, again, my personal reading of the energy. So, okay, let's have a look at Royal Lodge. We want to know who paid. As I said a few months ago, a rumor was put out, I wonder by whom, that actually it was a sort of double bluff by King Charles. On the one hand, I'm taking Andrew's security away and his allowance, and on the other hand, secretly, I'm paying for the upkeep of Royal Lodge and for Prince Andrew's expenses so he can stay there because Mummy wanted him to stay there. So let's look at the idea that King Charles was paying. True or not? We've got the Devil, but the Devil is in reverse. That is somebody who wants to get rid of the Devil. So I don't think that Charles was paying. I don't think I read on it at the time. I was going to. I got distracted by other things. But I don't recall reading on it specifically. It might have got mentioned in other readings. But the Devil in reverse that's the king genuinely wanting to cut ties with that toxic energy represented by Prince Andrew. Deceptive energy in the Devil, obsessive energy, difficult energy, dodgy energy, wanting to cut those chains, wanting to get rid of him. He sincerely wanted to oust him from Royal Lodge. I'm sure that the king's plan was to kick him out of Royal Lodge, smoke him out, basically, by cutting off the funds, mixing metaphors terribly, apologies, but smoke him out and force him into Frogmore Cottage. He's got rid of the Parkles. Parkles are very bitter. Every now and then they bang that drum. They're banging it again loudly now. What about Andrew? Andrew's so much worse, betrayed his country now, they can say. Quite justifiably, and I hate it when what they can say is quite justified, but they can say that, and he's sitting pretty in Royal Lodge, and they got kicked out of Frogmore Cottage for far less, they could claim, and again, I believe, rightly so. Probably the only time I'm ever really going to say that, so I'm going to hang on to the tarot table now in case I collapse from shock. But that's the king. How about the Chinese and or any other foreign state, rogue, nation, whatever? Who's paying for Royal Lodge? Two of Needles. It looks like it's being, the expenses are being shared by somebody. Two of Needles is a crossroads and a decision that's got to be made. Somebody hard at work there spinning their web, which is interesting. So I think that the money hasn't quite been forthcoming. Interesting that all this chatter about the king paying and then this whole scandal suddenly broke. It looks as if it might have been about to happen, but didn't quite. I know that the royal whoever it is at the palace who does the finances, they seem to be satisfied that the money was available for Prince Andrew to pay his whatever he has to pay. I don't know if he has to pay rent, but certainly for the upkeep of Royal Lodge, which was the thorny issue, that it was falling into disrepair and he had a kind of repairing covenant in his lease. And what about that? It looked as if there was some hesitation about actually what was going to happen. We're talking about double bluffs. Maybe this was a triple bluff. And, oh yes, there's the money. But not really. It looks like he might have been forced off the road almost at that crossroads, about to set off down a particular path and then shut down by MI5. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a very powerful money card there saying, yes, Chinese paying for all of this. But I'm getting a quite different answer. I'm getting games being played and maybe preempted, something that was about to happen being preempted. That again is my personal opinion, just reading energy. So let's look at consequences for Prince Andrew. And I was going to have a Prince William card. I forgot at the end what's Prince William going to do. It's already answered us, just have to say. We've already got our underlying energy is the outcome card as well for Prince William. If the king doesn't get rid of Andrew here in this column, Prince William absolutely will when it's his turn. It's on his to-do list. I would say it's right at the top. Well, maybe it's joint at the top with the has-been and the titles that his children have. My personal opinion. We'll look at that again at some stage. But let's look at Royal Lodge. Is the king finally going to evict Andrew from Royal Lodge? I got the Page of Presents contract. And it's upright. I think he's going to hide under that blanket of, I can't, it's a contract. We're hearing a lot of that at the moment. Can't do it, even though he would like to, it's a contract. Page of Presents, Page of Pentacles literally is a contract. Terms and conditions, negotiations. There might be messages about it. Hey, this looks really bad. How's about I buy you an island in the Caribbean and you get out of Royal Lodge? No, here's the contract. Signed by me, signed by mummy. You can't. So I don't think so. Sad to say, because I know that the king wants him out, but that's a scared looking little elf or whatever he is, pixie. Doesn't look very scary, does he? So, Christmas. Are we going to see Andrew and Fergie? Fergie twirling down the walkway, giggling, grabbing presents. I'm being unkind, but really it is a bit much right now. Are we going to see that spectacle again? I've got another page. This time it's the Page of Needles, which is the Page of Swords. I think there are conversations going on trying to shut this down. I'm not convinced that they're going to be successful, with the Page of Needles, because the Page of Needles is about preparing yourself for something, doing research. So trial balloons probably going up in newspapers. Do you think Andrew and Fergie should be at Sandringham? Do you think blood is thicker than water? All that kind of stuff. We're seeing it at the moment again in the press. So I think we're going to be asked our opinion. I think people at the palace are going to be going through comment sections of newspapers. This is my suspicion, my speculation. They're going to be taking the temperature with this Page of Needles. I don't think they've decided yet what they're going to do. This is all pretty new. Well, it's new to us. It might be quite old news to the royal family. And taking the temperature, planning, strategizing, maybe driven to the church. They did manage to force Prince William at some stage and Catherine to drive Andrew somewhere, and you could see a thunderous look on William's face then. I think that was up in Scotland. This one, I think maybe Andrew and Fergie in a car, and you can wave to the crowd, windows up in case they fling rotten fruit at you. Some of those Christmas oranges and stockings with a nice bit of mould flung at them. I'm not encouraging violence at all, but I would say some sort of strategy plan is being formulated to keep them away from the public, but at some level keep them there. Of course, they're incredibly dangerous if they are cut loose. I think that that's what Charles thinks. I think William doesn't care at this point if they're cut loose, and if that means that there is terrible damage done to his relationship with his cousins as well. Of course, there's already damage with Eugenie and I was going to say the Parkles, and all kinds of speculation about where she's spending Christmas. This is a family that is being torn apart because of the Yorks and their messiness. I could use a much stronger word. Planning, strategizing, figuring out what to do, because that's a frightened little creature there hiding under its bed. I don't normally say such harsh things about the king because I don't despise him at all. I have sympathy for him, I will say that. But yeah, the energy that's coming through right now is not the kind of energy that you want from your head of state, when the Chinese have managed to weasel their way right into the bosom of your family. That's my reading and my personal opinion, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.